Hey, it's Jason. So we're at Better Gym in Stratford, about to get my body fat tested. I'm excited because a lot of people speculate about how lean I am when I post stuff on Instagram. It's good to finally put the argument to rest. So I'm gonna get my body fat tested by none other than Obi Fitness over here. Looking forward to it. Obi, shout out to everybody. So Obi's gonna do my body fat test, a full site test. We're gonna see where we're at. I reckon looking at my current condition, again, not pumped, kind of flat. I reckon I'm under 15 somewhere. I'd be very surprised if I was over that. So I thought it'd be good to explain a little bit more about the nuances around body fat, because I know not everyone is probably clued up on it. So Obi here is an expert, he knows what he's talking about. We're gonna do the full site test. What's the benefit of doing the full site test and what sites does it cover?
Right, so first and foremost, I'll tell you guys, full sites is probably the most basic form of body fat testing.
Right.
It's really, really widely used by most industries. When I first started my PT calls, it was a thing we did.
That's what I was
yeah?
talking, yeah.
So that's what we all taught. Yeah. I went away, did a bit more research, and I've got a system which does a bit more testing on different sites, and it actually used tests on 14 different sites. 14. So, yeah. But for time's sake, we can use the foresight.
Yeah.
We can get a good indication.
So the 14 is obviously more accurate.
Yeah.
But the foresight will give you an idea. If you wanted to get like to the point, then obviously 14 will be a better one, because it has and again, a very important one, it goes through body fat distribution, because not everybody holds body fat in the same places.
Yeah.
For the sake of today, what sites does the foresight cover?
Firstly, we're going to look at the bicep, which is the front of the arm. Just flex the arm like that. Show me your bicep. There you go. And then we've got the tricep, the back of the arm. Just push that down. There we go. Look at that tricep there. All right. And then we've got the hip fat, known as the suprailiac, which is just lean into me like that. So it's going to be around this region. And then we have subscapular, which is if you just put your arm, bend your elbow, and it's just going to be below the shoulder blade here.
Well, good. Let's get into it.
All right, just finished the testing. This tester, actually, this caliper, measures in millimeters. The actual system does round numbers, so we had to round up and round down with some measurements. Overall, we've got Jason at 13% body fat. Pretty lean.
Yeah, 30%, yeah, I'll take 30%. Happy days. I knew I'll be under 15, where I wasn't really too sure, but 13, yeah, sounds in and about right. I probably would have said, if you asked me about 12, but I'll take 30, no problems at all. I'm gonna go over to Bank to get my body fat done at the DEXA clinic. Let's go. So just got to body scan. Let's go up and meet Philip.
First thing on the front page is you, the DEXA image. Very little orange, which is the body fat, okay? So visually, you're looking like a low fat guy.
Yep.
The red is your lean mass and muscle, and the blue is your bone,
cool.
Okay? So reading down to the total line, you're carrying 12.3 kilograms of body fat overall. So that's your total body fat. You're fairly tall, you're about 5 centimeters taller than I am. I would say that 15 kilos and below, between 10 and 15 kilos is typically low fat.
Okay,
all right?
Cool.
Okay, all right, so 12.3 kilograms of fat mass and 68.8 or so of fat-free mass. This is fat-free mass, okay?
Yep.
So jumping to body fat percentage, we've got you completely 15.2%. So if we take the head out, okay, you're 14.5. We don't often take the head out, but when somebody is very lean, then the head will always kind of skew results up. So the head is always about 25%. Fine. So your fat mass index is 3.78, okay? So now you see you creep a little bit, closer to the 10th percentile. Not much, probably around the same, but nevertheless, that is the most interesting number, meaningful number for us, okay? So for your height, you carry less fat than about 93%. So you're in a very, very low fat space, okay?
Yep. Cool.
I'm gonna jump forward to your lean mass index, okay? Essentially muscle for height,
yes.
all right? And you're sitting at 20, All right, so this is part of your experiment you're looking to do. So you carry more muscle for your height than nearly 70% of all the men in your age group.
Okay.
Yeah, let's look at muscle distribution, where your muscle is,
Yeah.
all right? So here on the report, you can see lean mass for arms, trunk, and legs, right? And you can see left arm, right arm, left leg, right leg. You're very, very symmetric. Okay, so you're very left-right symmetric muscle mass. Your bone density, so this is what DEXA was invented to measure, is very high. And again, this is coming from doing resistance training. Bone mineral is laid down faster when you do resistance work. So all bodybuilders will have bone density very high. Your bone density, in layman's terms, is about 120% of average.
Well, okay.
So it's very high.
Yeah.
You're not going to break a bone.
Yeah, fine.
Okay, if I plot it over here at 1.542, you can see you're kind of off the scale actually. Right? So very high.
That's fine. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, fine. Good.
Okay.
Yeah. Quick question.
Yeah, sure.
What is, because this is what I actually realised, I hear a lot on YouTube. People say that an FFMI over 25 typically is enhanced and below 25 is natural. Where is my FFMI?
So that's what this number here is. Your lean mass index is 20.
Fine.
And the number you're referring to is 25.
Okay.
Okay. At 25, I think most people are on something.
Really?
Yeah. You know, you say fat-free mass index 25, I say lean mass index 25. Either way, I think most people at 25 are on something. So, you know, you're talking about body fat percentages, but you know, DEXA does tend to give a number that's higher than other measurement methods, right? The reason for that is we're using an X-ray to measure all of the fat in all of your body. So we're measuring internal fat, we're measuring intramuscular fat. Bioimpedance is actually measuring resistance to electrical current. It then turns that into a calculation about water, and then turns that into a calculation about fat. So the scales you stand on just send a current up one leg and down the other. It also uses a kind of you know, a mass population, and if you're not in that mass population by way of age, ethnicity, you know, body fat, fat distribution, it'll just put you on the outside.
Fine.
Throw up a guess.
Makes sense.
And skin fold calipers, I think, is the most unreliable method.
Interesting. Okay.
Because it's down to the person doing it, so it's very subject to human error. If you get the same person to do it again, they'll probably get a different result. I had a customer in, a nutritionist. He went to 3 different skin fold caliper places and got results from like 12% body fat to 25% body fat.
Yikes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've had bioimpedance people in at 12% and other people at 30%. Right, with the same measurement on here.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
So you know, we measure what's on the table. There's no human error.
Now I have the data to say, okay, if I push on this time next year, where would I be? And that's what I'm interested in, really.
Exactly. You know, I mean, we would say to a typical customer, if your weight goes up in bulking mode, if your weight goes up by much more than 0.5 to 1% a month, right,
fat,
then there's fat on top.
For sure. Yeah. So who would have thought 14.5% body fat? So I'm about 0.8 up from where I was last time. I think I was about 13.7. Was I expecting it? I was definitely expecting to be under 15 based on the people I've seen that had been at DEXA and had their body fat tested. So I thought I'd be under 15. I didn't really know where, but if I'm honest, I'm happy with that. So another thing, I guess in terms of muscle mass, I wasn't really expecting to put on any muscle mass because I haven't been like committing to a bulk in the past couple of years. I've kind of been floating around maintenance. So we've got one more test. We're gonna head over to third space now. So currently in third space, about to do the in-body test. This measures impedance. So obviously done the DEXA, done the calipers. Let's see how this one differs, if at all. So according to this in-body test, I am 7.7% body fat. You've seen my physique earlier on in Better Gym. I'll leave you to be the judge of that. I'm not putting any weight on it. I don't necessarily trust it, but what I want to do, I want to analyze all the results and give you my final thoughts. This is me relaxed, obviously, but also post-workout. But this might be why you might think my body fat is lower than it is, because if I, for example, flex abs here, lift my arm, see the serratus, if I turn around, and I tense, obviously I haven't had a workout and I haven't kind of flexed, you can kind of see a tighter body composition, but this kind of, it's probably a bit misleading as to what my body fat actually is. So what are my final thoughts? 13% on calipers for me sounds about right. I would have said I was around 12%. Maybe if we did the 14-point test, I might have been leaner, but I'll take 13. Moving on to DEXA, I thought I'd be in and around 15. So again, 14.5 sounds about right. DEXA is usually about 5% more than calipers, so maybe I'm a little bit leaner, who knows? And finally, body pod, 7% body fat, really? I've trained many clients to get down to single digit body fat. I myself have been single digit body fat, and I was a lot leaner. So I'm very, very skeptical about that result. Now, DEXA is the gold standard of body fat testing, but because of the variances between testing methods, things like accessibility and price, I would say it's more important that the method you're using is consistent and you're tracking your changes over time. Do I think body fat matters? I would say if you're a leaner man, so like 15% or lower, and if you're a leaner woman, like 25% or lower, I would say body fat is far less important and you should just go by what you see in the mirror. But if you're average Joe walking around at a much higher body fat, I would say it's a good idea to have a rough ballpark of where your body fat is. That way you know how far you are from your goal physique. But ultimately, body fat shouldn't be measured in isolation because how a person looks is going to be determined by, yes, their body fat, but also their body fat distribution, where they store fat, and also how much muscle mass they have. For example, when I was growing up, I was always told that to see your abs, you had to be 10% body fat. But if I am indeed 13% body fat, as the calipers say, I can still see my abs. So what do those numbers mean? So that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments whether you thought my body fat was higher or lower. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again soon.